Okay, so the first thing I notice on this problem is the little -1 here at the top. So that's instantly telling me that I'm thinking about inverse trig. And inverse trig, we have what's known as the restricted domain. Okay, so I'm going to draw my circle, which probably needs to be bigger. Let me draw a bigger circle. Okay. Now for inverse trig, we go from pi to -pi/2, depending on which function we're talking about. And the reason we do this is so that the graph doesn't repeat itself, right? We're only getting one part of each graph. So we down here, all of our values are actually negative. So we've got -pi/6, -pi/4, and -pi/3. And then up here we've got, pi/6, pi/4, and pi/3. And then we go into the second quadrant over here. 2pi/3, (3pi/4), and 5pi/6. Now, in the first quadrant, right, it's positive, positive. Second quadrant, it's negative, positive. And the bottom quadrant is positive, negative. Okay, so what that means is there are certain functions that are positive and certain functions that are negative in those areas. So sine, cosine, and tangent are all positive in the first quadrant. So if we have a positive value, we're thinking about the first quadrant. Okay, so they're all positive. Cosine is the only special one. It goes into quadrant 2 if it's negative. Okay, sine and tangent come down here into our quadrant number 4. Right, this is when they're negative. Okay, and they get a negative value rather than 11pi/6, because we're not going all the way around the circle, we're connecting it in the circle. So we've got tangent of +1. So we know it's positive, so we're thinking it's going to be in this top quadrant here. Okay, and then we know it's a value of 1. So tangent, again, is y/x. So we need the same thing over top of the same thing, and that only happens at pi/4. So pi/4 is our correct answer. Remember, this -1, that inverse function, means you're searching for an angle. Okay, so you need a radian or a degree value there. If that -1 wasn't there and it just said tan of 1, that's a different type of problem. Okay, that's a unit circle question. This one is inverse trig. We are looking for an angle. Again, anything to the negative first, or if it says arc tan, arc cosine, arc sine, those are all inverse trig. You are looking for an angle at that moment.